Hello again, people. Welcome back to HemingwayLand.com, your source for quality, affordable land in the state of Hawaii. Another new property in another new subdivision this week. As you guys know, we are trying very hard to purchase as much as we can out here on the Big Island and to learn as much as we can about this area. So as the next time we go back and buy some more, we'll make even better choices, offer better properties at better prices, etc. Whatever the case, as time goes on, we're learning more and more, and we're finding more really nice subdivisions in which to buy property in. As you can see from the headline here, this one has power and paved road access. They pretty much all do, but this one is really close to the village of Volcano, as well as Volcanoes National Park, which of course is a major tourist attraction. Blah, blah, blah. If we scroll down past my lengthy write-up this week, we will come to reference number HI8756, located in Hawaii County, aka the Big Island. The district is Puna. I've recently learned the importance of listing the districts here, so we went back and edited all of our listing pages to include districts. Whatever the case, this one's in Puna, in the eastern part of the island. The lot size is a scooch more than half an acre, a scooch under 3/5 of an acre, 0.57 to be precise. Specifically in the Ohia Estates subdivision, and this little more than half acre property is a combination of two adjacent lots. One of them is about 0.21 acres, one is about 0.36. If you are actually interested in that degree of precision. Whatever the case, these are priced at $18,000. $18,000, of course, is a not insignificant sum of money. That being said, if you look at comps in this region, you are going to see that we are dramatically underpriced for this area. So it's a heck of a deal. And by the way, guys, I'm going to discuss comps later on in the video. If you don't want to listen to me yammer all the way until then, just come down here to this last paragraph. We're going to change this timestamp here to whenever it is that I start discussing comps in this video. So that'll be updated accordingly. And if you want, you can just skip ahead. With all that said, let's pull this up on the map, do as we do with all of our properties. Come down here, click on the GPS coordinates, and up on Google Maps it shall appear. So before we get into specifics, let's just pull back, talk about where this is exactly. Here within the Hawaiian Islands, you have the Big Island over here, the Big Island, aka Hawaii County, and this specific property is located over here in the eastern part of the island in the Puna district. More specifically, it sits just south of Highway 11. Highway 11, of course, is the Maumaloa Highway. The Belt Road goes around the entire island, and this property is less than a mile from the 11. Sits just south of the charming village of Volcano over here, and sits pretty close by to nearby Mountain View over here, to Curtistown over here, and even get into nearby Kiau or Hilo up here is easy to do when you are, of course, this close to the highway, easy drives, so on and so forth. Should be noted, by the way, Hilo, of course, is the most densely concentrated area of the county, of the island. It's up here where you're probably going to have most access to dining, shopping, nightlife, so on and so forth. Of course, grocery and supply runs are very close by in all those other little towns that I mentioned. But my guess is many of you who may be working up here, who are looking for a place, residential lot, somewhere out a little more private, somewhere a little more secluded, you may be looking to escape Hilo, to go out into a different part of the island. This property may be for you. Whatever the case, if you're not familiar with Hilo, this is the center of a lot of things that go on out here as far as I mentioned earlier, dining, shopping, nightlife, medical, schools, international airports out here, golf course out here, so on and so forth. Whatever the case, being out here in the Puna district, this also puts you in very close proximity to the Kalapana night markets that are over here, to this region, as well as this very scenic coastal drive of the 137, which passes along the Kehana Black Sand Beach, as well as the Poihoiki Black Sand Beach over here. That being said, you're in Hawaii, so you are never too far from the ocean, from coastline, from the beach, etc. It should also be noted, of course, that the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, the national park that I mentioned earlier, is also very, very close to the subject property. With all that said, let's zoom in a little bit here and talk about the specifics. So this property sits off of Liona Street, just north of name I can't pronounce. Word I can't pronounce. I'm not even going to massacre it here in the video. I'm not even going to try, and, you guys can write in the comments on YouTube how that is actually phonetically pronounced. But anyway, point being, the property, as noted, is a combination of two adjacent lots. Now, quick thing here, guys. This whole carved out area that you see right here, it's not all Ohio Estates. There's a second subdivision here. I'm not entirely certain where one begins and ends, but I'm fairly certain that Ohio Estates would consist of the entire, what I'm going to call the eastern half of this cutout area. Anyway, if you zoom in here on the map, what you are going to see, number one, is that the way that this subdivision was platted out, and you may have to bring this up on your own Google Maps to see this, but you have a front lot and you have a back lot. from the road. Okay, and so the front lot has the most road access right here, and then the back lot has this sort of I don't know, long driveway area. They call it the flag lot. I think they should call it the Oklahoma lot because it looks more like Oklahoma than it does per se a flag. Whatever the case, every one of these back end lots has this sort of long driveway, this long legal access thing that's been allowed for here. So some people build on the front lot, some people build on the back lot, some people build on both. Whatever the case, you will have the option to build on both if you purchase this property because it is a combination of both the front lot here and the back lot here. For the record, guys, if you come back here to the listing page, as always, we have the plat map down here in the table. First, it's a Google Earth representation of the exact size, shape, and location of what the two properties look like when they are combined together. So essentially a long rectangle, okay? But if you want, you can also study the plat map here, and you can see that you have the first lot, the front lot right here, and then you have the back lot right here. Again, the back lot is larger, 0.36 acres versus 0.21. So, of course, this gives you the opportunity to buy one of these, resell the other for potentially a profit, or buy one, live on one, rent the other one out to somebody else who comes out there and builds, etc. So there is the potential, obviously, when you're buying adjacent lots like that, that you can either use them both for yourself, both for family members, or you can, of course, resell one, etc. Anyway, with all that said, quick thing I want to point out here, guys, which is, number one, you've got the power, you've got the paved roads out here. We had mentioned earlier, of course, there's phone lines in this region. High-speed internet is provided out here, I believe, by Spectrum and perhaps one or two others. But the point is, you're in a fairly nice residential area like this. You can see all the houses around you. It doesn't look like there's a lot of junk houses out here. It looks like these are actually a lot of really nice places to live, a lot of nice houses out here. So it's in a good neighborhood. This may cause a lot of you to think that there is an HOA or a property owners association out here that governs this area, that charges yearly dues, annual fees, whatever. In fact, no, and I was surprised by this myself. Now, there is an organization, it's the Volcano Community Association, which oversees a number of subdivisions in this region. They, however, do not have yearly dues. They do not have road maintenance fees. They do a lot of sort of community improvement projects and donating to local charities, things like that. They host a lot of events within this region, within this area right here, as well as some of the subdivisions over here. But the point is that they are not out there issuing ticky-tack fines for when you park your car the wrong way, or when you build your house and paint it, some aquamarine instead of teal or something. So that is another one of the benefits of that. Now, let me just go to the photo gallery here, guys. I want to show you. First, we have photos from the property, but let's start off with just photos from the local region. If you're not familiar with it, this is the village of Volcano. You can see some of the shops out here. Again, being this close to the highway, you're going to have easy access to, groceries and supplies, the local post office, the bank, etc., whether that's in Volcano itself or a little bit up the road in Mountain View. But as you can see, bucolic little area here, a very charming little village. These are some of the homes within Ohio Estates. That's one of them. This is a little nicer one over here. And this is another nicer one. So as I was pointing out earlier, you've got some nice homes in this area. And what is that? Some kind of bird, I just realized. Anyway, point being, it's a lovely space. And then finally, as we start to go through the pictures here, you can see exactly what Liona Street looks like and what this lot looks like. Now, of course, we can't show you much of the lot. It's so densely forested, but you do see that there's power at the lot line. There's some neighbors living down the road, etc. And this is a sense of what is growing on this property and what, of course, you would have to bulldoze to create room to build on it, etc. And then as we go through these, we will eventually come to the drone photos of the area. Again, here you will see some nice homes out here. You see exactly how kind of built up this is. Not too many neighbors, but enough. You also get a sense of, well, exactly how nice the region is, I guess, what I mean to keep saying. But you also see some of the neighbors' water tanks, holding tanks. And if you go through these further, you will see more of those. Here's one over here. Here's one over here. Can't tell if that's a swimming pool or a holding tank, but let's just assume it's a holding tank. Point being, this is how a lot of locals get water. There are no wells out here. There's no official plumbing like that. Instead, it is rainwater catchment systems because you are in a tropical climate where it does rain a lot. We will discuss that more in the video a little bit later. But again, with the drone shots here, you see exactly how pretty this is and how nice some of these neighboring homes are. You get a good sense of that. Finally, we wrap up this this image gallery here with pictures from the nearby Volcanoes National Park. So these are not from the specific property, but from this, national monument tourist attraction out here at Volcanoes National Park. All right, with all that said, let's go through the table of information here, guys, so I can show you some ways that you can better research this, better learn about this property, if this is something that you're seriously considering. First off, we have a link here to the Volcano Community Association. If you click this, it's going to bring up their website. I would highly encourage anybody who does have questions about living in this region or who wants to learn more about this organization, please explore the website. It is actually updated on a regular basis, unlike some of these HOA websites or community organization websites, whatever. There's a lot of good resources on here in which you can learn more. Now, I will continue with that in just a second. As noted earlier, the Community Association doesn't have any formal covenants or restrictions or anything. This area is zoned RS10, so as long as you're abiding by the zoning ordinance of RS10, which is defined as a residential single-family district, you should be fine. For the record, we've got a PDF here. If you click it, it will bring up this excerpt from the local zoning ordinance as to what exactly this means for an RS10 district. By the way, I don't think this really tells you much. I don't think you're going to learn a lot about this, at least not the types of questions that I get from you guys about, can I build a shipping container home? Can I put a tiny home, etc. Those are questions I would recommend directing to specifically Hawaii County Planning and Zoning. They can talk about that better. But this PDF is at least a little bit of a jumping off point for you. You may be able to read something here that indicates to you yay or nay you can or cannot do something. Anyway, with all that said, as I mentioned earlier, this is one of the first subdivisions we've encountered that does not have annual road maintenance fees, so that's something you won't have to worry about. Additionally, no HOA or POA fees, like I mentioned earlier, and no time limit to build. So aside from the annual taxes of $200 per lot, $400 total, no extra costs, no extra ticky-tack expenses. Now, up here in this lengthy write-up that I did this week, a couple things I just want to mention to you guys and a couple of links I want to make you aware of. Number one, you can read through this on your own time, but what I will say is that one of the things we mentioned here is we direct you to the Volcano website. Now, another thing we say is, I'll just read it. The Volcano Community Association has no mandatory dues. Their voluntary dues, however, yes, voluntary, are $15 per person or $25 for couples. And it helps support community projects and yada, yada, yada. More to the point, however, what it does is that you get discounts as a dues-paying member. You get discounts at certain businesses and restaurants throughout Volcano as well as throughout Hilo. And we say for a complete list of this, you can click on this and it'll take you to that website. Really what it takes you to is this over here. And they have some of their VCA business partners, Volcano Community Association business partners. This is by no means a comprehensive list. But you can reach out to them and you can certainly inquire with them about that. And here you can see about the voluntary sort of membership fees that they offer. This is a pretty good deal. I haven't seen this before in a community association like this, and something that's just sort of one step removed from a homeowners association. I haven't seen one that offers discounts on restaurants or the local bowling alley or whatever. So this is a nice thing to consider, a nice thing to take a look at, and a nice perk of sort of living in this community. Now, additionally, another thing I want to make you guys aware of here is, so for those of you who haven't watched one of these videos before, of course, if you're going to be building out here, you have a densely forested lot. This is something you're going to have to knock down. This is something you're going to have to bulldoze or quote-unquote doze. For this, you're going to go to the Public Works Department. You're going to apply for a permit for that. Once you get the permit number, you're good. Everything's cool. You can go out there and you can begin bulldozing the land. Now you're saying, hey, Hemingway, where do I get a bulldozer? Well, it turns out this is this is a common business out there. And if you follow this link, we have this YouTube video. As noted here on the listing page, it's overlong, a little boring, but very informative. But it shows what a lot out here being bulldozed looks like. Now, this is actually in a nearby subdivision, but you're going to get the gist. It's not all that much different from this subdivision. It's a densely forested lot. And you can skip ahead in this video, and you can see from start to finish exactly what this ends up looking like. Point is, this is what dozing a lot looks like, and this is what you're going to want to get permitted for before you begin building out there. Of course, talk to the Planning and Zoning Department about this for more details. Whatever the case, now on other listing pages that we've had with these properties, we then typically give you resources where you can research this. This is one of the nice things about this aforementioned Volcano Community Association, which is that they actually have a list. They actually bother to recommend people, contractors who work in that region. And if you click on this, it will take you to their resources page, where you can read not only about their recommendations for contractors that you can hire out there to do these things, but also, as it says, the Building in the Forest brochure, our tips for building forest-friendly homes, quote, forest-friendly homes, etc. So they've got some PDFs here, some actually really informative literature about this topic. If you're going to buy a lot out here, or really in any one of these places, I haven't seen an organization actually put together this kind of information for you guys. So instead of us linking to these different PDFs, we're just going to link to this listing page to let you go through this on your own. Explore this, read more, you can learn more about this. But it's a pretty good guide. And, you know, it's just an indication overall to me of exactly how sort of proactive this community association is, how much they try to help their residents, unlike a lot of others which just really just try to, you know, collect money from you. So with all that said, there's a lot to like about this subdivision. Now, finally, I just want to, actually, second from last. As I mentioned earlier, you're in an area where you're going to be putting in a rainwater catchment system. That's how you're going to get drinking water, bathing water to your home. We have some links down here that can help you learn more about that. But the best way to learn about this, if you haven't dealt with it before, click on this link here, Waterworks Hawaii. It's a local vendor out there that does this sort of thing, that installs these rainwater catchment tanks in people's backyards, as you saw in the photos before. If you have questions about this, practically speaking, what are the costs logistically? What do I need to be aware of? Reach out to a local vendor. I recommend this with all of our New Mexico buyers. If you're going to drill a well, talk to a well driller. Don't call me and ask me questions. I'm clueless when it comes to that, amongst many other topics in life. But this, reach out to somebody who's actually done it before. And so this is a good resource for that. Or just Google, other people who do this sort of thing in Hawaii, etc. So with all that said, let's get to just talking about the comps here for a second, guys. As noted earlier, this is listed at $18,000. If you go to Redfin and you pull up properties in this subdivision, now, again, Ohio, I believe, is just pretty much this eastern end of the subdivision. But if you look at really any of the comps in this subdivision, you're not going to find anything that's below $18,000. Now, perhaps you're saying, hey, Hemingway, I see one right there. That's $14,000. Well, here's the thing, guys. If you click on this, and you bring up the individual listing, what you're going to find is that they're actually selling two lots together for $30,000. So I'm not certain why it's listed as $14,000. But the point is that's two lots together like we're doing, but they're selling it for $30,000. We're selling it for $18,000. If you look at some of these other comps, anything that looks like it's close to ours, like this $17,000, it's a very similar situation where they're actually selling two lots. Here, TMK, this one, and TMK. Okay, let's see. For $12,000 and flag parcel, flag parcel for $16,500. So again, it's the two of them total for roughly about $30,000 right there. It's a little misleading, but the point is that if you really go through these comps, what you're going to see is all these numbers like 30, 30, 31, 43, 32. I think that 20 is a combination of two adjacent acres as well, or it's just 1 acre. Let's see. Let me actually know what I'm talking about before I say it. Hang on. Purchase this lot next to it for $20,000 each. Yeah, okay, so it's $20,000 for one lot, $40,000 for both. Point being, if you look at all these comps, what you're going to see is that on the low end, things are in the low 30,000s for two adjacent lots. Some of these are just selling single lots by themselves. So point is, $18,000 is a really good price for land in this specific subdivision and probably some other subdivisions as well. Even though it is only, a scooch more than half an acre, you're actually getting two parcels out there, and as noted earlier, you can do a lot with these two parcels. So, with all that said, guys, if you are tempted to purchase this property and you would like to do so, just come up here, click the Buy Now button. It's going to take you to a secure checkout page. Let me just say this, guys. So we're asking for $500 down. Let me explain what that means. That does not mean $500 this month and $100 every other month for the rest of your life. No, that means we're looking for a cash buyer for the whole $18,000, but we start the process going by just putting down $500. So you put down $500, give us the name for the deed, marital status, tax address, so on and so forth. On the next page, click on, agree to the terms of service, click on next. On the next page, you enter credit or debit card information. We'll ask you for the $500 down. Now, when it comes to properties like this, this $18,000, we encourage you to close through a title company. So if you don't want to, that's fine. We can do the rest of this with a credit card or a wire transfer or whatever, and we could have our attorneys draft the new conveyance documents, the new deed. But really what we're going to suggest is close through a title company. And the way that process works is once you put down the $500, we're going to contact you. We're going to get you a sale purchase agreement. We sign it, you sign it, we submit it to title, and they will do the rest. And if you'd like to learn more about that specific process, come up here to how it works, buying from us. It'll take you to this page, and down here under type of closing, title, escrow, you can read about what I just described. So Title company's not going to do anything unless they have a signed contract from buyer and seller demonstrating intent. So we're going to provide you a contract. It's going to look a lot like this one. This is one of our standard but generic versions of our standard contract. One page for signatures. We submit that to title escrow and they do the rest. And by the way, part of the, there's a couple benefits here for you, the buyer. Number one is that you're getting title insurance on the property. Number two is that the rest of your $18,000 is not going to be released to us until such a time as we've actually deeded the land into your name. So if you are worried about buying land online, if you haven't done this before, if you're skeptical about, who are these Hemingway guys, then that is the best way to do it. Now, a couple things here, guys. What I encourage you to do if you are seriously considering purchasing this property, there's a couple notes about purchasing here that I want you guys to acquaint yourself with. One is the title escrow closing that I just sort of walked you through. The other, if you ultimately elect not to close through title escrow, as we say up here, whatever closing costs are associated with this are going to be your responsibility as the buyer. So if you don't want to take on that burden, if you're fine buying land through a website, if you talk to me on the phone and you feel like, okay, this guy's cool, then we can just do an attorney closing. So the way that that works is that we're going to ask you for all of the money, and then we're going to contact our attorney, and we're going to have him drop new conveyance documents as well as a deed. He'll have those to us within a day or so. We get them to you. Once you approve them, once you say everything's good, you spelled my name right, you spelled my wife's name right, so on and so forth, we will autograph, notarize, and mail off to our attorney to record with the Bureau of Conveyance. Again, both of those processes start with a $500 earnest money deposit, which is non-refundable, etc. And by the way, guys, if you are looking at this property, you want to buy it, you don't have all the money, I'd recommend looking at lenders out there. Hawaii Federal Credit Union, which we link to here, is one of these lenders that will actually lend on vacant land. There's a few out there in Hawaii. I'm learning more about these. But the point is that you can look at their lending program. I have not dealt with it personally myself. I can't vouch for it. I'm simply putting it here as a resource for anybody who is thinking about that. But 4.25% APR on a loan of this size, which is not all that large to begin with, seem like pretty agreeable terms. I'd encourage you guys to read through this. Maybe it'll work for you. Maybe you'll be able to qualify for this, and you can get the money that way. Blah, blah, blah. I should mention, as this property is in Lava Zone 3, which is, I don't know, considered one of the safer lava zones, we'll say, it is going to be a lot easier for you to get homeowners insurance and to get approved for a loan like this. I think some lenders won't lend on property that's in Lava Zone 1 or 2, but certainly property within Lava Zone 3. FYI. Anyway, guys, if you have any questions, and I certainly covered a lot of information in this video, feel free to leave a comment here on the YouTube. I'd love to respond to it. Shoot us an email, support@hemingwayland.com, or give us a call, 702-919-7170. There's a lot that I like about this property, and generally when I run into properties where I have 7 million things to say in a 15 or 20-minute video, I end up tripping over myself and not getting all the information out or saying it as clearly. So if there was anything that was confusing here, just shoot us a communique, whichever fashion you choose, and we will get back to you ASAP. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next video.